Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Last video we talked about the why to Fi. Why are we undertaking this journey? What are we looking for by living our lives a little bit differently? So today we're going to get into step number 2. I want to start off by saying that this is the steps I took, but each person has to look at their own life and make their own choices. This is by no means financial advice for the legal disclaimer. Step number 2 for me was creating that space. And what I mean by that is I needed to be able to look at my expenses, and I needed to reduce my expenses while increasing my income, creating space. I had a debt that I needed to pay down, and because those things are costing you interest every month, which is then also just again a reason why you can't create space. So if you can reduce your expenses, you have more available income to start paying down those expenses, and then in turn create more space and pay down even more debt. I like to focus on paying down my debt first. When I say that, I kind of say that with a blanket statement, but in reality, your high interest debt, such as your credit cards, that's going to be the ones I'm kind of going after, maybe followed by car loans. But a lot of the car loans these days are actually pretty low interest rates. So, and not that I am an advocate for car loans. My car's paid off and I have an old beater, so it's not really important to me. But in the scheme of things, and so the main way I track this is through an app called mint.com. I go on there every single day. It's part of my daily routine to understand where my money's going, what's coming in, what's going out, understanding my net worth. My net worth is an important thing to me. I always want to see that going up. How do I, make that go up every single day? And your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. So how much debt you have versus how many assets you have. So mint.com is an excellent way to track that. There's other things like personal capital, but my experience has been with mint.com, and it's been a very good one. And again, like I said, I make that part of my daily routine, just to make my finances one of the most important things in my life, because it's allowing me to live the lifestyle that I live. So start off by putting all your information into mint.com and look at where everything's going. You're going to want to put in your house payment. You're going to want to put it in your credit cards, bank accounts. I trust it personally just because it is the same company, Intuit, where I did my taxes as well, so they have all my information already from that regard. But for me, I felt comfortable doing that. Others may not feel comfortable. You may want to track that personally, maybe through an Excel spreadsheet or paper and pen. But starting out, understanding your net worth, tracking your expenses, you need to determine whether or not what your expenses are, and do you put value on things that are going out. I think for a lot of people, it's a rude awakening on how much we spend on things that we don't need, or just don't really bring us value. I think the biggest expenses are going to be your car and your housing. So I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next video on paying down debt and making the choices on those big expenses. But the first step is understanding where it's all going, looking at your net worth as a starting point. Don't be discouraged. I started off with a negative net worth 2 years ago, and it's grown dramatically over the last 2 years, just by tracking it daily and making it part of my my daily routines. So step 1 was identifying your why to financial independence. Why are you on this path? And it's important to remember that, just so you can go back to it, and because things are going to get a little difficult sometimes. For me, it got very exciting when I started to see all that progress. Step 2 is understanding your net worth. You want to start by tracking your expenses and tracking your income, to understand where you're at so you can get to where you want to go. So next video we'll talk a little more on the following steps, but I hope everyone's doing well, and wish you the very best. Have a great day.